So long before the Canadian tax break movie sensation, which had numerous hits and misses, we had this movie, which was considered almost obscene by certain jurisdictions. It starred somebody who many of us thought work was Canadian, but was not, and who appeared in 2001: A Space Odyssey, and also featured the beautiful Sandy Dennis. So today we're talking about the Canadian production of The Fox, a drama directed by Mark Rydell. The screenplay by Louis John Carlino and Howard Koch is loosely based on the 23 novella of the same title by D.H. Lawrence. The film Mark Rydell's feature film directorial debut. Now, in this one, Jill Badford and Ellen March struggle to support themselves by raising chickens on an isolated farm in rural Canada. Dependent Jill tends to do household chores and finances, while the self-sufficient Helen deals with heavier work, such as chopping wood, repairing fences, and stalking the fox that keeps raiding their coops, although she is hesitant about killing it. Jill seems content with her secluded existence, but the frustrated Ellen is less enchanted by the solitude. Now, in the dead of winter, merchant seaman Paul Grenfell arrives in search of his grandfather, the former owner of the farm who died 1 year earlier. With nowhere else to go while on leave, he persuades the women to allow him to stay with them for a few weeks in exchange for helping with their work. Tension among the three slowly escalates when his attention to Ellen arouses Jill's resentment and jealousy. When he proposes marriage to Ellen, Jill is first outraged and hysterically fearful, even trying to bribe Paul to leave. Now, eventually, Paul tracks and kills the fox. Just before his departure, he makes love to Ellen and asks her to elope with him, but she confesses she would feel guilty if she abandoned Jill. After Paul returns to his ship, Jill confesses her feelings for Ellen, and the two women make love. Ellen writes to Paul, explaining that her place is with Jill and that she cannot marry him. Now, several weeks later, Paul returns unexpectedly as the two women are chopping down a dying oak. He offers to complete the job and warns Jill to move away from the tree's potential path. In a standoff of wills, Jill refuses to move as Paul continues to chop at a tree. The falling tree crushes Jill, and she dies. As spring begins, Ellen sells the farm, and she and Paul set off to start a new life together. Knowing that she's silently mourning the loss of Jill, Paul assures Ellen that she will be happy in her new life. She replies, "Will I?" Now, the main cast, including Sandy Dennis as Jill Badford, Anne Haywood as Ellen March, and Keir DeLay as Paul Grenfell. Now, it was based on, again, the 1922 story in the Dial by D.H. Lawrence, produced by Raymond Strauss, cinematography by William A. Fraker, edited by Thomas Stanford, music by the great Lalo Schifrin, distributed by Warner Brothers 7 Arts and Claridge Pictures, released December 13, 1967 in Canada, with a wide release in the States in 1968, and get this, $19.1 million in the box office, unheard of for a Canadian movie at the time. Now, when adapted Lawrence's novella for the screen, Louis John Carlino and Howard Koch opted to change the setting from England to contemporary Canada in 1918 in an effort to make the plot more relevant for late 1960s audiences. Now, it was filmed on location on a farm in Lasky, Ontario, and also the train station at Unionville, Ontario, and the Cityscape Film Studios in Kleinburg, Ontario. The song That Night was music by Lalo Schifrin and lyrics by Norman Gimbel, as performed by the great Sally Stevens. Now, the film was released soon after dissolution of the Motion Picture Association of America Production Code and includes several scenes of nudity, masturbation, sexual activity involving Paul and Ellen, and physical relations between two women. Rated R at the time of the original release, it was re-edited and rated PG in 73, but there was heavy publicity in Playboy magazine and what you call softcore pornography publications. Now, Rita Adler of the New York Times called the film a good and interesting movie and continued, the pace and the quality of the color muted and unnatural, with many scenes photographed in shadows of various kinds, convey a brooding sense of something not quite right with everyone, rather than tone of reflections in a golden eye. Now, Roger Ebert of Chicago Sun-Times called the film a quiet, powerful masterpiece and added, "Do not go to see The Fox because of its subject matter, and do not stay away for that reason. The scenes which disturbed Chicago's reactionary censors are filmed with quiet taste and an intuitive knowledge of human nature, and they are only a small part of a wholly natural film. Indeed, it is the natural ease of the film that is so appealing. The delicately constructed atmosphere of cold and snow, of early sunsets and chill lingering in the corners, establishes the tone. Miss Dennis has a difficult role that could have become ridiculous, but she manages it well. DeLay is also stronger than he's been in other recent performances. Now, this was before, of course, 2001 was being released. Since David and Lisa has been trapped into playing a series of insecure, weak characters, this time, as a dominant personality, he is altogether successful, and he meets his match in Miss Haywood. Now, TV Guide called it an uneven adaptation of D.H. Lawrence's novella and rated it 3 out of 5. Now, at the time, The Fox was the fifth most popular film in general release in Britain in '68. Again, a shock to a lot of people that we still think that Keir DeLay is the what they call a Canadian star of the movie. He's not. Now, a lot of nominations, especially for the score. Academy Awards, it was nominated for Best Original Score for a motion picture, not a musical. Of course, Lalo Schifrin. At the Globes, 4 nominations, 1 victory. Best English Language Foreign Film. Best Actress in a Motion Picture Drama, Anne Haywood. Rydell got Best Director for a Motion Picture. And Best Screenplay for Louis John Carlino and Koch. At the Grammy Awards, nominated for Best Original Score written for a motion picture over TV special. And the Laurel Awards, Haywood got 5th place for Top Female Dramatic Performance. Now, the film score was 32 minutes, recorded and released in 1968, and composed again by Schifrin and released by Warner Brothers. The main team has since acquired notoriety in France as the music for dim tights commercials. Compositions including Theme from The Fox, arranger and conductor was Schifrin, Frost Trees, Soft Clay, Ellen's Image, Dead Leaf, Foxhole, That Night by Schifrin and Norman Gimbel song, Foxtail, Paul's Memories, Roll It Over by Schifrin and Gimbel, Trembling, Lonely Road, and Dripping Icicles. Now, under the obscenity concerns here, the film was the subject of McGrew versus City of Jackson, Mississippi, a federal case on the constitutionality of the state of Mississippi's obscenity statute. The statute prohibited any exhibit to public view, on a screen or otherwise, any obscene, indecent, or immoral picture, and authorized an officer to make an arrest of any time without a warrant for a misdemeanor committed in his presence. In '68, 2 police officers and city prosecuting attorney, as paid guests, visited a local theater in Jackson during a showing of The Fox. At the conclusion of the showing, the police officer arrested the theater owner, Irene McGrew, and seized the entire film. Now, McGrew appealed the conviction, claiming that the Mississippi statute violated the First and 14th Amendments of the United States Constitution, which guarantees freedom of expression. Now, in the 2-1 vote, the judges of the United States District Court for the Southern District of Mississippi upheld the conviction, stating that the statute was constitutional. The majority said, the dominant theme of the Fox film is a sex in a raw state, and a product which the producers have attempted to whitewash and clean up just sufficiently to possibly escape condemnation as utter filth. The dissenting judge said, I think that the applicable Mississippi as obscenity statute fails to meet the constitutional requirements of the First and 14th Amendments, guaranteeing freedom of expression. So basically what they're saying, showing themes of bisexuality, lesbianism, longing, not say matricide or patricide, but what do you call, killing somebody to get him out of the way to keep your lover, or to kill your lover's lover. That sort of thing was considered obscene. In 2024, that's just a soap opera plot. And, maybe the problem is if the 3 main characters weren't so nice looking, that would be something different. So, I mean, a very, very interesting part of Canadian movie history, because this was before the tax break system came in. And England loved this movie because a lot of people thought it was a British movie. But, you scratch a British movie and you get a little bit of a Canadian kind of aesthetic. And it seemed to me like when I think back when this movie came out, it was Much Ado About Nothing. It's a very, very like D.H. Lawrence. He the writer was always looking at something that was a little bit different, and he got it in here. But the soundtrack is just tremendous. And in regards to Sally Stevens, the musician, would you believe she also sings the main title for the Family Guy series? So she went from a band movie, singing for a band movie, to the and she's also been the choral director at the Oscars. So it's a strange world. That's all I can say. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing with our Oscar review podcast in relation to Canadian movies, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share. And don't forget, Truth to Stranger in Fiction. If you've probably never heard about this movie before, there's a reason, because this type of sexuality in movies has been so obscured in the last few years for titillation factors. This was a sufficient plot point. You know, loves like love stakes there. You know, A loves B, B loves C, and A hates C. If that makes any sense, or A loves B, B loves C, C hates A. So A needs to take care of either B or C. That's how it works. So if you like what we're doing here, give us a like, comment, subscribe, or share. Stormy weekend for the first week of spring in the Maritimes. So batten down the hatches and watch out, ladies and gentlemen. It might be ski season for at least a couple more weeks yet. Have a good one. Bye.